I'm really debating on whether or not I'm going to do a whole video, which would probably end up being a whole video series of my experience with some branch of the Illuminati in Northern California not too long ago. When I got back, I got really, really sick, and I just hadn't experienced a respiratory ailment like that in, I don't know if ever. So I don't know whether or not I should attribute it to my experience, or if it's just sort of a very nasty coincidence, or at the same time if it's sort of a divinely inspired disease that is teaching me a lesson about what I encountered. The more that I go through the experience, the more I remember certain words being said, certain phrases, the way they said certain things, and whole parts of conversations that I really either got blocked out initially, or I just needed time to really progress the whole thing. I still got that cough. I'm feeling a lot better, though. Really, I want to give at least the setup. I left from being on the road with a very interesting man named Dennis, who maybe one day we'll do it again. I don't know. It'll be all up to him. But I went up to Northern California, where I had been given an opportunity, and I think it was in a lot of ways a feeling out situation because of what I talk about, and because what I think this branch of the Illuminati was. There's a lot of in sync going on between my information that I have and that I've studied and that I perform and live, and with what they are in charge of. So when I got there, I'm not going to give the location. I'm going to say it's a bed and breakfast, and that may or may not be true. What I met was two very attractive females who, they were smart to do that. And I believe that they had definitely gone through a whole behavioral analysis with me, because they know that I wasn't going to physically harm two females, and they're right. It put me a little bit more at ease. And they couldn't have been two more perfect females. And if they wanted to try and entice me, those would be the two that I would have if I was not a little wiser, probably have fallen for their charms. This picture hit me so hard when I saw it, because that is really the image that I could see with my third eye as I was speaking with them. That these two girls, and I'm going to say that I don't think they were inherently altogether human. Now, does that mean that they aren't human? I don't know. They looked Icelandic, but that's the closest thing I could put them to, because I've seen Icelandic girls. I know that the Icelandic culture has been cut off from a lot of racial mixing, and so you have really, in a lot of ways, probably the purest Caucasian of what Caucasians really looked like at one time. But they looked even more like what I would think way, way long ago Caucasian people looked like. And I would not be surprised if there had been not some sort of genetic enhancements in their birth. They were very smart, and just their physicalities just seemed a little too put together. So that was interesting. One of them I knew was definitely very psychic. And she was the one that really, I think, tried to get inside my head the entire time and either move things around or get a better look. So I really felt like I was dealing with one who was very psychically powerful and one who was very intellectually manipulating. What they talked about, of course, sounded very good. The real points of it that I want to say is what they told me is money is overrated to them. It's old hat. They have all the money. They don't need necessarily any more. What this is about is full power, full control. This is social Darwinism. This is because essentially, and what they said bugged me, but they're right. We have through our own silence and consent, allowed ourselves to be chained to their system because they have made it convenient. They have got us addicted to what they want us addicted to. They have futurists that sit down and take the technology that we are actually, they really put it out there. They told me it's 60, 70 years behind. The newest technology we have, they've had for 60, 70 years. I believe them. And they can predict what that technology is going to become. And so they're right there willing and ready to get us hooked. And they know how to direct what we want through consumer behavioral analysis. And they can corner every market that they want to. The one thing they have not been able to corner is spirituality. And the other thing is the astral realm. And they talked about that at length. They're working on that. As crazy and as bizarre as it sounds, they talked about technology that is fully aware of the astral realm and continually puts human-like thoughts and imprints them in the astral realm to continually build an empire that suits them well. My advice to you right now is it doesn't matter what the odds are. It doesn't matter. Fight back. You had better begin to fight. And that means every day being consciously aware that you are no longer bound by a Faustian pact. Consciously every day aware that you are living inside a matrix that they own. Okay? The movie The Matrix is really fucking dead on. You are inside their matrix. You are inside their false reality program. You are inside a program that they have projected forward. And in some cases, I'm going to get even crazier right now because of what they told me. In some cases, they have the ability to peer into a real physical future. As crazy as that sounds, time travel may not exactly be out of their control or without the realm of possibility right now. It sounds strange, I know, and it gives you another... All this, I hope it does, is lights a hot, hot fire under your ass. Because now they can go and see the outcomes of multiple options and multiple choices. And they can come back and say, this is where we need to put all our power into. This is what we need to drive forward. And because what they do now is sort of like a shotgun effect. They have tons and tons of independent, probably not always aware of each other think tanks that think and come up with multiple options. And they just scatter them out there. And if they have 1,000, maybe only 10 work. But they keep those 10, and they push those 10 forward. They go back to the drawing board, create more ideas, come back, scatter them out there. Maybe only 10 more work, but that's 20 more than they had before. But with this, they can go and say, these are the 4 that worked. Let's put our combined efforts behind those 4 and drive it forward. They have us captured in a whole realm of moral ineptitude. We have people right now, whole scores of people, who would riot over a fucking football game, who would riot over a basketball game, who would care more about LeBron James or Lindsay Lohan or some other dipshit, corporate-owned fucktard who's put in front of you day after day, and so you think that you're somehow connected to those people. They don't give one flying fuck about you. You could die in front of them, and they may go, oh, well, that's too bad. They don't care, but if they died, thousands would show up to their funeral. And right now, you have horrible bills passing. One that they could shut down basically any website they want, and one that says you can't grow your own food, and it sails past the House, and we get maybe a couple thousand calls of people concerned, which is good. But could you imagine if all those people who sit and live and die for the Super Bowl, the World Series, started treating their country like the World Series, who got involved year-round and not just during a big presidential sham election? Okay? This is one of the major ways that they have totally usurped our populace. They have taught women that masculine, aggressive men are wrong. Look at what we have. Michael Cera and Seth Rogen as our masculine role models. Yeah, they're funny, but they get their asses kicked. They're funny because they have no other defense. What happened to Clint Eastwood? What happened to John Wayne? And they told me their biggest enemies were Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, Rambo, all those guys, those characters that they used to hook you into Hollywood and then have slowly weaned off the testosterone and plunged you into a world of pretty ponies and estrogen. Because what does that do? It makes you soft. Women, as much as I love them, as much as they are storehouses of power and energy, their first intent is to find the masculine, authoritative individuals and submit to them, because that will guarantee the life of their children. This is social humanism from the very beginning. Okay? So, like Hitler said, first you get the women, you know you'll get the children, and eventually the men will come around. So what do we have? We have all these Lifetime shows about how guns are bad and how defending yourself and standing up and being aggressive and masculine gets you in trouble. So all the women are like, oh no, I don't want my son to grow up to be tough. I'm going to lob his balls off right now. And then all of a sudden the fathers are like, don't you dare raise my son like a girl. And because she's like, well, I'll leave you if you don't let me raise the children. He loves her and doesn't want her to leave, and so finally he submits. They told me this directly. This is part of the program. This is one of the major reasons they've been so successful. Because humanity works on a male and female polarity energy. They knew way back when, if they could throw it out of balance and create a full-on patriarchal type religion, that things would spiral out of control, and it did. Now they're going to kick it to the opposite direction. They're going to create a full-on